The opportunity to go in UK, Ireland, Scotland, US and Australia. But I didn't choose that because I had another big passion, which was Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Leti, and if you're here is because you wanna find a way to travel to 50 countries in the cheapest and the most sustainable way. I'm here to tell you about my story, how I traveled to more than 50 countries and I wasn't rich, I was under 30 and I was just following my passion. You can check my other channel in which I say how I developed this passion. But yeah, basically after being in France for 2 years of university and doing some trips here and there, I decided to apply for an Erasmus. An Erasmus is an opportunity that people in Europe get to do a semester exchange or 1 year exchange to another country. They're gonna move you to that university and you have the same subjects, more or less. Some of them are different, but they try to alienate you with the same subject, and you study there instead of studying in your country. Let me know in the comments if you guys have this option as well in your university. It's a great opportunity to visit another country, to stay there for longer and to explore the language and the habits of that country. So where did I go? I am Italian, so I already knew Italian as a mother tongue. When I had the choice at that time in the university, I was studying 3 languages. I was living in France, so I spoke French with everyone, so I was already learning, just living there day by day. English, so I had the opportunity to go in UK, Ireland, Scotland, US and Australia. But I didn't choose that because I had another big passion, which was learning Russian. It was a passion that I developed many years before. I will tell you the story in another video. And I went there because I really wanted to be able to speak to someone. Sometimes when you study a language, you just know how to say hello, how are you, water, table, cat, these kind of words are just simple and maybe you know how to connect them, but your brain is not well developed to do those connections yet. So the best way to do those connections, to train your brain to speak that language and understand the person who's talking to you, is to go to that country. Try to go as much as you can, but the ideal time, if it's a foreign language, it's 1 month. So that's why when I went to Russia for 3 months was a great opportunity for me to develop the knowledge of that language. And what happened is that I got a scholarship to go to Russia, and I went there with few girls that was in my class, so we were total like 4 people. And we were living in a city called Tver. Tver was in the middle between Moscow and St. Petersburg. When I first landed in Moscow, I took a few days before actually starting the university to explore that city. Moscow and St. Petersburg are completely different. Moscow is more like Russian style. There is the Kremlin, the Lenin Mausoleum and the Red Square. I really got impressed when I was there. And then after the university finished, I took a train to go up north and stayed in St. Petersburg to explore and to see how life is there. St. Petersburg, it's more like a European style. It was where the Tsar was living, or the Tsar had a winter castle. So it looks more like Paris, Germany, because the Tsar of Russia got a lot of influence by European prince and princesses by that time. And so you just go deep into history and seeing those things you remember about maybe your childhood movies. In Tver, we were living in the campus of the university. it was crazy because in Russia the buildings have universal heating. So when outside was freezing, it was like minus 10 degrees, inside was super hot, and we didn't have any choice to turn off the heating system. We just have to stay with our t-shirts. Even now I'm super hot. Use little breaks I was telling you about in the other video to travel to different cities in Russia. I went to Yekaterinburg when I was in Russia during one of those breaks of the university, and I reached Yekaterinburg by train. And I remember being in a church that had a museum inside, and in the museum they were explaining about the story of the Romanov Tsar. What happened is that they escaped from the main house that they had in Leningrad. They escaped that city because the Russian Revolution was already starting, and they went until Ekaterinburg, and they stayed there for a few weeks before the people from the revolution found them, the communist people, and then basically were fusilated, all of them, and nobody was left behind. Unfortunately, nobody could escape. Anastasia from the Disney movie was actually living in St. Petersburg, and about the whole story is just like surreal when you're there. Even though the story is a legend, that lady actually died. Unfortunately, nobody was left behind, nobody could escape. So that's pretty much it. This video ended up with a little bit sad information, but it's very fascinating for me to know all these details about the history. So if it's for you as well, please put me in the comments every detail you know about Russia, and about every fascinating story that you know, or if you know more about Anastasia and all the revolution. So yeah, thank you so much for being here today with me, and I wait for you in the next chapter.